Right then, this is a quick walk around video for quite an extraordinary Honda Civic. This is a 1.8 EX petrol car. It's covered just 7,300 miles from new, one owner and a full Honda service history all the way through. It is incredible. Finished in deep sapphire blue, which looks lovely. It's also got the optional sort of silver leather, grey leather interior, which is very rare to find and the perfect companion for the exterior colour. It is in beautiful condition. Lights and lenses there, you can see clear and intact. Bonnet, can't see any stone chips of any note anywhere on them. Near side, beautifully smooth in the panel work. Sorry, it's a bit windy today, so I'm hoping you can hear me okay. We've literally just washed it off. It's not been polished, and yet it's got that kind of natural gleam you see on a very low mileage car. From the back again, absolutely beautiful. Whereas the offside, driver's side, again, it's just stunningly smooth in the panel work. It's hard to find a blemish of any note. I mean, there's going to be something somewhere surely, but nothing jumps out at all. Look around the car, but it is a stunning example. Coming to the boot area, enormous boot, and it looks like it's hardly ever been used. Load liner fitted, which means the carpeted area underneath looks like new. Also comes with a space saver wheel rather than the inflation kit, which is a cost option on the car. Coming to the back, you see this lovely interior. The back of the car looks like it's never been sat in. I'm sure it must have been, but it literally has just got that new car feel about it. Passenger side front, full sets obviously original. This is piped seats in the car. Passenger seat there again in stunning condition. Finally coming on the driver's side, again absolutely beautifully clean. So inside the car now, engine's running as is always the case. The dashboard can be seen illuminated, which frankly looks like new. Sat nav, you can see, working exactly as it should. Pop the car into reverse, so you can see reverse parking camera likewise. Let's carry on down. It's a car you have to see in the flesh, in all honesty. And there is the view you get as a driver of the best dash you will find anywhere in its class. Absolutely stunning. No warning lights on at all whilst the engine's running. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual, pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video for, as you know, a very special car indeed. This is a Honda Civic 1.8 EX. Car's registered SL12OXU, and at the start of the show is the mileage 7,325 miles only. The reason we do all of our videos, and especially actually this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's looking at any of our cars online, they get to see that very car in operation. It's probably less important for a car like this because you're not going to expect it to have much wrong with it, but you know, we have, like many people, been to see cars which have looked perfectly good in photographs or description, but only to get there and find out there's a fairly obvious fault that shows up when you drive the car. We also do it on these very quiet country roads. It's a beautiful part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is, of course, it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you go on a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, quite often when I'm looking for cars for stock, I just tick boxes in terms of kind of ownership histories, everything else. And every now and again, and a few times each year, we find cars like this, which I love finding. You know, one private owner from new, he's serviced it on the dot every year, regardless of mileage, by the Honda dealers. So I think it's had 10 services or something like that, 12 possibly. It's ridiculous, but clearly doesn't need that level of servicing, but someone's done it at least. And in the condition, the spec, I mean, it's an astonishing vehicle. And as we mentioned in the advert, this is not meant to be, nor are we trying to make this in any way, shape or form the cheapest EX petrol Civic in the country, because it is not going to be. In fact, it's almost certainly going to be one of the most expensive. But to counter that, you've got a car which is not even running, a modern Civic high spec car is now mid 30,000s. So it's actually a huge saving on what you could buy new, I guess. I'm going to go through the video in exactly the same way as I do all my videos, so I'm not going to sort of hold back on the car. But to start with, the engine, which starts instantly, of course, and settles to smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be. The engines are simply superb. It's a wonderful unit. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's refined. I'll just wait here a second. As with all Honda petrol engines, they're incredibly reliable and long-lasting. Cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts to worry about on them. But it's just so lovely to use day in, day out. It's such a sweet-natured engine. Docile, flexible. You can be in, very high, the high gears at very low speeds, and it pulls keenly and without any sort of fluster or flutter. But it does so. If I do put my foot down, you've just got that lovely, sweet-edged engine note to the car. There's nothing harsh or rowdy about it in any way. When you look under the engine bay, by the way, all the nuts and bolts look like new. It's incredible. But yeah, perfect. Engine then feeds into the clutch and gearbox. As you'd expect, the clutch is absolutely spot on, smooth, sweet, bike point exactly where it's meant to be. And then 6-speed manual gearbox, which is a lesson to other manufacturers and just how to do it. Like most front-wheel drive cars these days, gear lever there is actually joined to the gearbox by cables, not by levers or anything else. But unfortunately, that does mean lots of its competitors give kind of light, lifeless, vague gear changes. They do the job, but no more. This has got a kind of a heft to its action, but utterly precise as well. It's really pleasant to use and satisfying and feels engineered, which is exactly what it is. And of course, it feels exactly as it would have done when it was manufactured. Then we come on to the steering chassis, which has always been my favourite part of the Civics, because it's a car that can do two things brilliantly well, and that's normally very, very hard to achieve. So if you just want to buy the car to go from A to B as comfortably as possible, it does a really grand job of it. The suspension's beautifully tuned, really nicely damped, very comfortable to drive over, only sort of the harshest of potholes and edges will catch it out, as it would any car, by the way. But what the steering in particular and chassis allow is it's kind of energy to the car. It's got an enthusiastic nature to go where it goes through corners. It loves changing direction, and the steering's got a nice weight to it, absolutely pinpoint accurate and precise. Never ever feels nervous in any way, even at higher speeds. But it works beautifully. The chassis, as you turn, the chassis digs in, very little body roll. It flows through corners absolutely beautifully. It's a really engaging car to drive. So those that really enjoy their driving still, getting from A to B isn't just about doing the journey, it's enjoying that part of it. It's a lovely vehicle. And there are absolutely no creaks, rattles or groans from underneath the car that shouldn't be there. The whole car feels exactly like it is, almost like a new car to drive. Same with the steering, by the way, no vibrations, track's nice and straight, so all good there. Let's get off the main road, get up to speed and give the brakes a bit of a thumb. I know they're good, so it's almost a pointless exercise, but I do it for all the videos. Pedals fantastic, it's instant, it's positive, there's no pulsing, no vibrations coming back through the brake pedals, so all in fine order. And then finally coming inside the car, I've always loved the interior of the car, so I am massively biased, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, and I'm, as I always say with the Civics, acutely aware that it is an interior that, your classic Marmite interior, you either love it or you don't. Fortunately, most people absolutely love them, but it's for good reason. It's not just to look pretty in your eyes, as it does to me. It's how it functions. It's all for a reason. It's not there just for show. This is a rare car indeed to have this lovely light leather interior. It blends beautifully in the car. Why there isn't more of them, I have no idea. And is in stunning condition in here. Absolutely stunning. Beautifully put together. No squeaks, no rattles. It feels a premium product, which is exactly what it is. The most conventional part of the dashboard is the centre stack here, which would be similar to lots of cars. Better in lots of ways, of course, as Honda tend to do. Sat-nav system works perfectly. The reverse park camera. One of the easiest systems you're ever going to use. It's press a couple of buttons, you found your destination. It's that easy. Down below that, you've got a dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures side to side if you so wish. And that pumps out ice cold air, by the way. All of the switchgear, as is always the case, has a beautifully damped, high quality feel that Honda do so well. But my favourite part has always been this directly in front of me here, this two-tier design. So the upper deck is basically the information you're going to look at most readily. And what Honda have done is put an information pod there. Look at it if you wish. But what's quite clever is if you change things like radio station or my fan speed here, I've got a little display down here. We've got a much bigger, bolder one up there, so it's easier to see as you're driving along. But a gauge that everyone should be looking at most regularly, of course, is your speed. And there it is, all by itself, floating high on the dash, white on black dial. It's perfect. Why Honda then decided to put it back down here, I've no idea. It's the next generation. Still works well, but that is miles better. And I've just sold a car with CR-V with a heads-up display, where it floats in the windscreen, and still they're not as good as that. That's just genius. Underneath it, you got the more conventional pod of dials, rev counter sat merrily in the middle, flanked either side by the temperature and fuel gauges. The whole thing is just so easy on the eye, so easy to navigate your way around. A day of driving it, it all becomes second nature. But to me, there's so many cars on the road, especially for this generation, where if you squinted, you wouldn't really know one from the other. They're just all built on the same theme. You've got binnacle here, centre stack there, and it all just, the ambience is the same. This couldn't be anything other than a Civic, but in a really good way. It does feel very special. On top of which, you've got the most reliable car in its class, probably the most durable car as well. Certainly the one, obviously the best space. You've got the magic seats in the back, dual level floor at the boot, huge boot area. It is, in my eyes at least, the perfect family car, because it just does everything wonderfully well. And so this one is an absolute rarity. It should be in a museum really, but there we go. Obviously cannot fault it in any way.